Hello and welcome to fifth lecture in sixth chapter of our comprehensive course on machine learning, data science and artificial intelligence. In this lecture, we continue actually our discussion which was stopped somewhat abruptly in previous lecture. That we were exploring this basic data exploration using Pandas. But before that, we wanted to create one data frame. So we created the data frame by various different methods because I wanted to show you that merits and demerits of creating data frame, say manually. This was manually written code. This was ChatGPT code. This was Wizard Coder code using OpenWeb UI. OpenWeb UI was, if you remember, it was something like this, in which I selected the model as my Wizard Coder for Python, and then I asked my prompt here. This was my prompt. This was my prompt, and I just copy pasted my prompt, and I got the answer. But that was OpenWeb UI, and that required Docker container and installing this OpenWeb UI tool itself and all that, which we have not learned so far, and which is a bit complicated. So let us now close that because that part we have already studied. I do not close the Docker container, I just minimize it. But as far as just now it is concerned, it is not required. Then we also said that there is no need of even that Docker container and OpenWeb UI, because now you have this Jupyter AI installed in your Jupyter lab. Again, we have not learned how to install that Jupyter AI in your virtual environment, and that it is a little bit difficult thing, but it is manageable, not much difficult also. So once you install that, thereafter you can use here the model, and I'm using Olama, so that means I am using the model which is installed on my computer only, and I'm using that same Wizard Coder, and I'm saving the changes, and then I go back, and here this is the chat interface, and I asked the same answer, same question here in the chat box, and I got this answer, and this was the answer which I got by Wizard Coder. Okay, this is the answer by cursor, but I could not cover it in the lecture as it was becoming very long. So let me delete this, and we will see how to obtain the same answer using cursor AI in this lecture. Okay, so let me delete this. Okay, so fine. So this is the only one thing which is left. Now I told you about the merits and demerits of each method also. Manually creating, very much necessary for someone who is absolutely new to programming, at least for initial few chapters. Okay, because you will forget even small things like misplacing the quotes, misplacing the colon symbol, misplacing the comma, and in one program normally you will encounter 5-6 bugs, or maybe more than that if you are complete novice to programming. At the same time, I have to balance my teaching that way that even seasoned programmers are maybe there in the learners, so they should not feel bored that why I have to do this, because this is nowadays taught in school level, so not even college level but school level, this much Python programming. So for them I included this, that was manual method. Now this method, ChatGPT method. In ChatGPT, I told you that here you have to select your ChatGPT model, OpenAI model, and you can select the most sophisticated one, provided you have paid and you have this OpenAI API key, and then you have to save the changes, and then in this you have to put that prompt. Here was your prompt, and put this prompt that give me this kind of data frame, and it gives the data frame. Okay, so that was ChatGPT code. But what is its demerit? It gives very fast answer, that is correct, but its demerit is that it requires internet to be on, and this information about your data, though you are not sending actual data set, but this information about your data is going to the internet, through the internet to OpenAI, and then coming back from OpenAI, response is coming back from OpenAI to you. Now if the client or you yourself are a little bit paranoid and you don't want to send things over internet, maybe you are dealing with some very sensitive data, then you may not prefer to use this. Okay, then in that case there is a method in which you can switch off the internet, but here in the settings you select this method, Olama, this, and select appropriate model. So here I had selected that when I put Olama list, I got that for Python programming I have one specialized model, so why not use that? So I selected that and save that settings, go back, and then put the same thing in chat. This was actually that chat. This chat was sent to Wizard Coder. If you remember, see these answer. Okay, this was the answer obtained by ChatGPT. This was the answer obtained by Wizard Coder. That is the another answer. At that time, neither your prompt nor your answer or anything is traveling across internet. Internet is switched off. I also showed you that the same wizard coder can be used by Docker with Open Web UI if you are not comfortable with Jupyter AI. And here also I can choose that Python wizard coder, and here I can paste my prompt, that is this prompt, and it will immediately give me the answer. Now, what are the merits and demerits of these? First, most important merit is privacy. You are not using internet anywhere, so that means that your privacy is 100% protected. Everything is happening on your PC only. Second important advantage is cost saving. You are not paying to any provider like Cloud or Anthropic Cloud or OpenAI for ChatGPT model or any other provider. You are not giving them API charges because you can do directly in your. This is being done on your own PC. Okay, and then one more thing is yeah, that is one. So two merits are privacy and saving of cost. Demerit is that if you use this type of thing for ordinary laptop or desktop, then the answer which came so quickly here will take a lot of time. Here, if you see this Docker container, it is running actually using my GPU, CUDA, and everything. So that is why the answer is coming a little bit, not little bit, but pretty quickly. Okay. So these are the merits and the demerits. Now let us go to the last method, that is using a tool called Cursor AI. Okay, this is also one of the most favorite tool of programmers all over the world. But again, for that, internet must be on, and that privacy issue is there. Further, it also may require, though there are some free models available, but it may require you to pay for good quality large language model. Okay, so we will see this Cursor AI in a while. Now this is the user interface of Cursor AI. What I did was just new text file, because that is the biggest advantage, that now I don't have to write code. I just have to give instruction to the large language model in simple text. Okay, so this was my prompt. I opened a new text file and I just copied my prompt. Okay, and it gives, here you can see that it is using the code Cloud 3.5 Sonnet, that is Anthropic Cloud. It is also one of super model for coding purpose. Or someone can choose GPT-4 Mini and other also. Some of them are free, or some of them may be free, but they have certain daily limit beyond which you cannot use. So it all depends. Now it says that press Control K. The I mean the method to start coding is press Control K. So if you start coding with Control K and then you just write one thing, you have already specified give me Python code for Pandas data frame like that this type. Import Panda import I have written, and it has created the entire line. I just press tab on my keyboard, which is not visible to you, but and the next lines of code it has almost immediately created. Okay, suppose I missed that, then I again import and I press tab, then next line of code. So Control K, and or maybe let me show you everything from the beginning only. So you can see it gives that instruction, press Control K, and I have the entire prompt written because it was used with other large language model in my Jupyter, etc. So I will just paste that and press Control K. So this here it has started generating. I will just write import numpy and see why it is okay. So here is my instruction, that is the prompt which I pasted in my text file, and just write I, and it is giving me import pandas as pd. I press tab on my import numpy as np, and I press tab again. Then next lines suppose are not coming. Actually, ideally everything should come in one go. That is that much powerful this is. But anyway, so create a dictionary data equals. So you just write da, and it has created the dictionary. Press tab, and the entire dictionary and everything. What I was saying, everything is there. So go on pressing tab for each line, and this is the code. You can see how blazingly powerful this Cursor AI is. Okay, just copy this code. I think I will copy only the code, not the prompt, and open the Jupyter, and this is the cursor code. Let us print. It also works flawlessly. So these are the tools at your disposal. This is using Cloud 3.5 Sonnet. Okay, you can use otherwise other models also. And Cursor has advantage that even if you have not paid anything, it will use the free tools whatever are there by, or the free versions whatever are possible. If coding is only the purpose, then perhaps you don't need to pay anything to the OpenAI or anybody now. But because there are plenty of free tools. Now the question is, okay, you have generated your data. These lectures previous and this became too long. That is because I wanted to show the use of AI tools. Fine. and you generated the data. But now the question is, what about that part? Actually, we were doing this thing, that how Pandas is useful in exploratory data analysis. So I said that it can create a lot of different information you can extract from these data sets. So for example, what were the information that also I written? Yes, here, summarize the data set, understand the data set, inspect the data set. So what things you can do once your data set is created by any method, AI tools or manually or whatever way. So suppose I'm using my this manually created data frame only, and for that I want to use some basic exploration methods. So what you can do, very easy again, you can view top 5 rows, bottom 5 rows. You can view statistical summary. You can view data types of various columns. You can also view what else? Yes, so you can also view frequency or count in categorical column. And many things. Now it is very easy. You just have to write the code, and I will write very quick code, but that means I will not use the print statement. Instead, I will just write like this: df dot head. So that will print, but that will work only in Jupyter. In other IDEs, like for example VS Code or something, you have to write this print, then in parenthesis this code df dot head. Okay, but Jupyter is in that way interactive Python environment, so it can show you the output below only. So this is first 5 rows, indexing starts from, then last 5 rows, so df dot tail, then statistical summary, so for which we know that there is a function describe. However, in earlier previous chapter we used describe from SciPy library. Now that Pandas is and for that we have to import SciPy library. Now Pandas has been already installed, so we don't need to import SciPy, because Pandas has its describe function. Now you can see there is one issue with this describe. If I use it as such, okay, so if I use it in this manner, then it will describe the statistical summary only for numeric columns. This was my data set. These 3, random int, random int, random int, they are my numerical column. But here, these 2 are my categorical column. So it is fine, because for categorical column, the summary is different. There is no question of finding mean. What is the mean of HR and marketing and finance and sales? That is a senseless question. Or what is the mean of these 3 cities? Again, a senseless question. So, but can't I describe other things from this for this categorical column? Then yes, I can describe. But let us first see for numeric column. So what it has given number of rows, count. Okay, mean of age is 41. So my employees have mean age of 41. This will help that to decide that my employees are aging or something, or maybe I need to hire more youngers to maintain a balance. Average age of average years seniority is around 14 years. Standard deviation in each of these observation is this much. What is given? Minimum age of my employee is 20 years. Maximum age is 67 years. So these also help in preparing for transition, because what happens is a person who is so senior is usually at a higher level, maybe CEO or director, vice president, something. So he needs, he is going to retire soon. Then you need to start preparing for finding an capable successor. Otherwise, just when a charismatic leader leaves, then also the company may suffer. Higher range of income is 9994. Minimum income was 3099. Okay, and years employed, highest is 28 years, and lowest is 1 year. So that gives me a fair idea about numeric column. Now the question is, what if I want to use same df.describe, but for object, that is for categorical column, which were not included, then I write include equals obj. Okay, so obj when I write, that means object data type, and if I, sorry, there is obj not understood, then I think it is not obj, or maybe I can just write include equals all. So it will give all. It gives numeric also, and it gives categorical also, and in them for numeric variable, unique does not make any sense. So that is why wherever something does not make any sense, it will put none value for it. Similarly for department and location, as I said, mean of department, standard deviation of department, maximum department, minimum department, or minimum location, maximum location. These things don't make sense. So wherever there is something which does not make sense, that will be put as none. But for these 2 columns in which we are interested, department and location, I can see that in the department also count is 30 and 30. That means there are 30 rows. there are four unique departments. Now that was expected because these are my departments. So how many unique departments are there? Then there are four. Okay, and here locations are three because it was these three cities. So that is also fine. Then I can get something more that is yes, frequency. So frequency is 10 and 13. Now frequency itself is something like count. So what is the top frequency in my data set, or which department has highest number of employees? Then that is sales department. And how many are them? Then 10. Which city has highest number of branches? Then New York. How many of them are there? 13. Now that was also expected because while creating data only, if I see New York had a probability of 0.5. So that means that around 50% of the total observations should be in should have location is equal to New York. Okay, and here you can see 50% of 30 is around 15. So here it is 13 observations have location New York. Okay, fine. So the top city is New York and its count is 13. But I don't get the count of other cities and similarly other departments. So for that I can use df.n unique. Okay, and if I use that, now I am getting the count of every, that in age there are 24 different ages. In income there are 29 different ages. 30 rows only are there, and in years employed 22. Now there it is not much important because that is fine. They are numbers, but in department I can see four departments and three columns. Now in each column, how many rows are there? If I want to, how many observations fall in HR department? How many observations fall in marketing department? That I don't get. Only that describe give only the result for the top. That sales is the top, and there are 10 observations, and New York is the top city, but and there are 13 observations. But what about other department? Then for that you have to find value counts like that, or you can use this formula n unique only. But instead of using n unique for entire data frame, you use it for only that column. Okay, so then that let us only execute this. Then okay, that is also giving the same thing. Value count I think I have not included. Otherwise everything I explained, head, tail, describe. Here D types. I want to know what are the data types of various. Then I can use df.d types. So that gives that age, income, and years are integers, and department and location are object. Yes. So here, if I don't want to include that all, I will have to use obj instead of that. Perhaps I think I will have to use whole object. Yes. Now I am getting the count, unique category, top is sales, and frequency is 10 and 13. So this was statistical summary for only categorical column, and this is statistical summary for all numeric columns. Okay, fine. And there is one more thing. Yes, which are the columns inside? Okay. So what are the columns names? So then you can just write df.columns and press enter, and you will get it like this, that these are the columns. However, sometimes in some algorithm you have to feed these column names in list format. So here it is not in list format, looking like a list, but let us see its type. I already taught you earlier in many other chapters that whenever you are not sure, you should always, and it is Pandas core index base index. So it is not list. So it gives the list in output, but I suppose want to feed this output to some algorithm which requires input in the form of Python list digit data type. So then it is very simple. Put dot and then to list. Now if I test, I am getting the list, and if I test the type of this, then you will see that it will be Python list. Okay, so that is how you can get the list of all columns. In fact, this toList is the very powerful method, and any result which is obtained by any other pandas or numpy, you have a numpy array and you are asked to convert it into a Python list, then just paste it, this command at the bottom, at the end, that dot toList. Okay, so that will be that will give you the answer in list format. Since this is already covered here, I am deleting all these rows which I have done. I am keeping only maybe describe, because here only describe is discussed, but describe and include equals object is not discussed. Okay, so this is covered, tail is covered, head, top 5 rows covered. This is not covered, so I am keeping it. N unique is also covered here. Yes, it is covered. So fine. Then I am deleting N unique, and D types is also covered. So covered, delete it, and toList is also covered. Here same things are written, but with print statement, and here the head of the data frame is this, tail of the data frame is this, descriptive statistics are these. As I said, the limitation of this is it will show only numerical types, and therefore if you want to get, then you will write include equals object data type. Okay, so and then N unique So what are the unique categories in each observation, and then this two list. Okay, if you want to find how many values are there in each category, here this just gives the number of category, that there are four departments and three cities or locations. But what about how many rows fall in which department? So then for that, I can introduce one here, that you can use df dot uh, value. Maybe let us just because I don't prefer to remember everything. Yeah, value underscore counts. Let us try, and yes, it gives much more information, that in the age, I think what it is giving is value count will not give. It is giving in each count how many, each observation how many counts are there. For example, how many employees have age 20, income 5496, years employed 21, department finance, and location San Francisco, then one. Now this value count is useful for knowing if there are duplicate rows or not. But here my data was created uniquely, so there is no question. But with value count, I think I can write maybe n unique, or no, that is not the way. Okay, I will. Okay, I struggle with this value count because I just made a small mistake. That was the reason. I wanted basically to find how many observations fall in each of these departments. Total there are 30 observations, 30 rows. Maybe 4 employees work in HR, or 5 work in marketing, or maybe 10 work in marketing, 10 in finance, and 6 work in sales, like that. So I use directly value count, but instead I have to use value count for that specific column only. Now the name of the column was department, D capital, so department. And when I write DF department, that means now I'm not talking about entire data frame DF, but only a department, and then use. Yes, now I get it. That sales has 10, HR has 10, and marketing has 7, and finance has 3 employees. And if you do the sum of these, then it should be 30, because total there are 30 employees in my firm. Similarly, the other, how many employees work in different cities, if I want to write, I think the name of the column was location and not city. Yeah, so location, and df location dot value counts. And if I write that, then I can easily see that 13 are working in New York, 10 are working in Chicago, 7 are working in San Francisco. So this value count also I am keeping, because here in the lower part I have not kept it. Otherwise, the rest of the things I just wrote for teaching. Okay, so here we finish this lecture, and maybe yes, I think finish this chapter also, because this is the exercise of this chapter. Okay, now sometimes 6.1 is written, so you should not be confused. That varies 6.2. So actually, originally I wanted to put a large lecture on Panda, but then I realized that it would be too lengthy chapter. So I divided the chapter into basic Panda, then intermediate Panda, and then advanced Panda, like that. For example, there is still one more chapter on Panda. So that exercise 6.2 was shifted to that chapter. That's why. So there is only one exercise, and exercise questions are important starting from here. Okay, this is part of the question. So that means this data is created for you. So you should not bother that from where this data is created. This data is created, and this will be given to you as a question, as a part of the data of the question, and you are asked to solve this question. That what Pandas data frame is, and how load the data and assume the data frame DF has been saved to CSV file, and all that things and everything. Okay, so use this. First, generate suitable data frame that can be used for exercise question for the 3 topics which we mentioned. Okay, so which okay, fine. And let us stop this lecture here and continue our discussion on Pandas in next lecture. Thank you.